The company is represented by Mr. Rajiv Poddar, Joint Managing Director, and Mr. B.K. Bansal, Director of Finance. I would like to hand over the call to the management for their initial remarks, and post that we will open up for Q&A session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Chirag. Good morning, everybody. I welcome you all to the earnings call of our company for the first quarter. I am joined by Mr. Rajiv Poddar, Joint Managing Director, and Shogun from SGA. Let me start with performance updates. Due to COVID-19, operations of the company remained suspended for most part of April 2020. The operations were resumed during the last week of April 2020 when lockdown was partially lifted by the government. After following stringent safety and security measures across all our plants, the company was able to gradually ramp up manufacturing activities in May 2020 and thereafter. The company has now gained normalcy in manufacturing activity as well as dispatches. Despite COVID-19, our Q1 FY20 number has been a good quarter for us. The pickup in sales volume in May and June led to a total sales volume of 38,096 metric tons in Q1. The demand is strong in agriculture segment across geographies, reinforcing our belief on the potential of this segment as well as the brand positioning of BKT in end market, which is continuously helping us to gain market share. The non-agriculture segment is moving slowly on account of low commodity prices and end user demand. However, we expect gradual uptick as economic activity increases across the globe. Our diversified product portfolio, strong presence across the globe, multiple sourcing bases of raw material, and strong balance sheet with no long-term debt makes our company resilient to face any challenges and to maintain competitive edge in the global market. In the current circumstances, we remain confident to maintain this momentum for rest of the FY21 and achieve sales volume at a similar levels as FY20. Let me now update you on the CapEx front. Post lifting of lockdown, the work on greenfield tire project at Walur and other expansion activities at our Bhuj plant are progressing well. The company is trying to complete these projects as per schedule, that is before 31st March 2021, subject to delay of 1 quarter provided there is no further lockdown or any unforeseen circumstances. With this, I now move on to performance highlights. Our sales volume for the quarter was 38096 metric tons, showing a degrowth of around 26% YOY. This degrowth was on account of lower manufacturing activity in April 20 on account of lockdown restrictions. Our standalone revenue for the quarter stood at rupees 942 crore, which includes realized gain on foreign exchange pertaining to sales of rupees 13 crores. The standalone EBITDA for the quarter was at rupees 251 crore with a margin of 26.7%. The EBITDA was impacted on account of lower absorption of fixed costs owing to lower production and sales. Other income for the quarter stood at rupees 33 crore, which includes net loss on foreign exchange to the tune of rupees 8 crore and other income from investment of rupees 41 crore. Coming to net forex items, for the quarter we incurred a net forex loss of rupees 8 crore, which includes realized gain of rupees 21 crore and unrealized loss of rupees 29 crore. Profit after tax for the quarter was recorded at 122 crore, showing a margin of 12.9%. We are a net cash company. Our cash and cash equivalents were rupees 1175 crore, implying a net cash position on the overall side. The Board of Directors has declared an interim dividend of rupees 3 per equity share. With this, I conclude my opening remarks and leave the floor open for question and answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and one on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and two. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Ashutosh Tiwari from Equirus. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi sir. Congrats on decent numbers. Firstly, I want to understand how is the domestic market shaping up? Because I think from other companies we're hearing that tractor tire sales are very strong. So for us in India, how much of the sales comes from tractor segment only, and also our market share, if you can provide some color, and also in terms of reach, how we are spread as of now, and what is the scope for further expansion?
Yeah, hi, good morning. So,
yeah,
firstly, now in BKT's reach is pan-India. So we have our network across the country. Our market share would be in tractor tires would be roughly about 7%, and there is a potential scope to grow much higher, and we are focusing on that. And if you see, we've been slowly growing over the last 4 years and being able to reach these numbers. And we've got the product established now, we've got the network established, and we are slowly making gaining market share every year and growing in this segment.
And we are present in all the SKUs which are used in domestic market and tractors as of now.
Yes.
And roughly what percent of our domestic sales is purely tractors?
This would be roughly about...
It is around 40 to 45% is agri.
And then secondly, if I look at the change in stock during the quarter, there is a 53 crore, I think the production was more than sales because there was a 53 crore stock built up. So is it that we produced more in the maybe June month or so, and then dispatches were impacted? Because generally in this quarter we have seen that companies have consumed the stock of last quarter. Now there is a change, there is a production higher than the sales.
No, basically what happens, generally we produce as per our, customer order only. But,
okay.
As I have explained many times that the customer place order for say 20 different SKU. And suppose out of 20 only 10 has been produced. So till that remaining 10 are produced, this will remain into inventory and form part of the inventory.
Okay.
So that is how this kind of inventory is built up temporarily in the system.
Okay. So basically that production will be converted into sales in this quarter. Okay. I got it. That's all.
Yes.
Thank you.
It always happens like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. We would request the participants to please limit your questions to 2 per participant. The next question is from the line of Kunal Sharma from Perfect Research. Please go ahead.
Hi, good morning, sir. Sir, please give some color on, as you said that we will achieve...
Good morning.
Sir, could you please shed some light on that we will achieve the same level of sales in FY20 as we achieved in FY20. So what are the steps, sir, are we taking? Because your global competitor said on con-call that Europe and US are still disruptive market due to the pandemic, and they also saw the same level of the degrowth. And the last one is, sir, our ad and promotion expense contribute 4 to 5% of the sales. So so are we planning to cut the expense for FY21 because many companies are taking the same step? So thank you.
So basically, I'll answer your question in 2 parts. Firstly, on the sales, we are quite confident looking at what we've done in the last quarter and the last 2 months of the last quarter. We are quite confident we'll be able to hit the numbers of last year, and we are working hard towards that. That is where we are projecting and we are trying to get to. As far as the ad spend goes, we are not looking to cut our overall spend. There may be some shift in where we are spending that money, but overall we will maintain the same percentage of spend in sponsorships and other promoting methods for our brands.
Okay. And sir, could you please share for the current quarter, ad and promotion as a percentage of sales?
What do you want to know about the current quarter?
Ad and promotion expense as a percentage of sales.
It will be similar to what we've been spending.
It is around, on overall basis, so it is in the range of 2 to 3%.
Oh. Okay, sir. Thanks a lot. That's all for the next quarter.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Siddharth Bera from Nomura. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, sir. Thanks for the opportunity. Sir, first on the demand outlook, we have seen a very strong, good growth in June numbers for the export market. So, can you throw some more color on how July and August are looking at? And I understand that we have maintained our flag, but just wanted to understand more that how are the trends currently? How much is the pent-up demand, and in case can throw some more light on that?
So demand is holding up and is good, but being this quarter numbers, we can't discuss on this. But overall demand looks positive at this side.
Okay, got it. And how much will be the domestic value growth in the quarter? Volume and value growth, if you can indicate that.
One second. So domestic was almost flat. You can say there was a marginal degrowth compared to same quarter of the last year.
Okay, on the volume side.
So overall local volume was, in the last year of the same quarter 11,316 metric tons, and which is now 9,402.
Okay. So lastly, on the carbon black side, can you indicate we had already commenced our second phase of the plant of 80,000 tons. So how much could we sell to the external markets, and how are we thinking about this for the rest of the year?
So basically, if you see, the overall carbon black was set up with an idea to control our own supply and manage the inventory, including having a better control over quality. And that was this. So that was the reason why we set it up. It was never set up with an objective to have a high number of sales outside. So we're maintaining that, and some portion of it will continue to be sold outside in the market because you can't have an apple to apple quantity being produced.
Okay, sir. Got it. Thanks. I'll come back in this.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ronak Sarda from Systematix. Please go ahead.
Nice, sir. Thanks for the opportunity. So first question is on the RM and price side. Raw material side. Are we seeing any what's the direction on raw materials over the next few? For Q2 and let's say Q3, are we seeing some inch up in commodities, and has there been price action in YTD FY21?
So in the current year, there has not been any pricing action. Raw material prices directionally have come down.
Okay.
Going forward, it is difficult to predict what would be the scenario. But considering the current scenario, it looks that it will remain in the range only.
Okay. So then maybe this quarter should be flat QOQ versus Q1?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. And sir, what was the production number for the quarter?
41,576.
Okay, thanks. And sir, last question. We have seen decent demand. However, if you can just bifurcate that into agri and industrial, because I believe industrial should have seen some slowdown. And is that reflected in your ASP and product mix as well? The realizations.
So basically, realization on overall basis has been around 247, which is better Q on Q and YOY. And what was your next question?
So the demand momentum which you are highlighting, is this, the strength in demand is similar in both agri and industrial tires? Because I think industrial should have seen some impact due to projects being stuck or activities being not happening.
So agriculture has been better, but now
so as I said
with mining activities opening up, we are seeing we are hopeful that this will also pick up, and also as things start unlocking, construction activities, quarries, everything will start opening up. So we are positive on that. But definitely agriculture is better at the moment.
Okay. So, is that already happening? Let's say we are, almost in July, August. Now, August maybe mid-month now. So, are we seeing that, pickup happening in industrial as well?
Yes, there is some pickup, but I think as the next phases of unlock open up more, you will see a much better demand coming in there.
Okay, sure, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Hitesh Kori from Kotak Securities. Please go ahead.
Yes, thanks for taking my question, sir. Sir, can you just give us some operational data? Maybe I missed it, like volume by region, Europe, America, rest of the world, and India. Also agriculture, OTR, and also the OEM replacement. So absolute numbers, please, so that we can analyze the results.
Yeah. So Europe was 20,000 to around 21,000.
Yeah. America, rest of the world, India.
India, I said, America was around 4,000, 3,000, India, 9,400. And
yeah, so rest is that. Okay.
Rest of
and agriculture and OTR, sir?
Yeah.
Roughly 6% of agriculture. The rest.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Yeah, agriculture.
Hello.
Agriculture was around 60% of our volume came from agricultural sector. The rest came from
65%.
65% in this quarter, right?
Yes.
Okay, and OTR would be around 32%. And then there's others. That's right now.
Mining, OTR, mining, construction, industrial, all put together would be about 32, and the smaller tires would be, the other segments would make up the balance.
Sir, finally on the OEM and replacement.
OEM and replacement would be roughly.
So OEM is around 27%.
Yes.
And the replacement would be around 70%.
Okay, great.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sanjay Satpathy from Ambition Capital Partners. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Congratulations on a decent set of results given the circumstance. First thing that I just wanted to clarify, which I could not really hear properly, in quarter 2, you were looking at recovery, but did I get it right that you were looking at some flat number year on year?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, as I said in my opening remarks, that for the current year we are looking at the similar volume number what we achieved in the last financial year.
Yeah, that is for the full year. I am talking about this July-September quarter. Did you also say that? Because your numbers suggest that you will grow 8-9%
No.
the year.
So sorry, we do not talk on quarter basis, and particularly for the current quarter we cannot talk anything. So we generally give full year guidance, and which is maintained.
Understood. And sir, now can you share with us the market share that you have in agri products in different geography like USA and Europe? Because you have mentioned that your market share in North America region is particularly lower, and you are trying to kind of improve it. And we're trying to assess like what could have been the reason for your lesser market share in that region, and what are you doing about it?
Bansalji, you are sharing something or should I?
No, yeah, you can go ahead.
So basically, on the agricultural side, in Europe, our share would be in double digits. It would be in the about between 12 to 15%. In Americas, it would be around 7 to 10%.
Okay. So not only just about 200, 300 basis point difference.
Yes.
Okay. When you are talking about increasing the share there substantially, are you talking about agriculture or you are talking about everything, and where really it can go to? Because your overall aspiration of global market share rising from 5 to 10, that must mean a substantial increase in market share in these two regions, right? Where you are already at 10-12%.
So if you see that what we talk about a 10% growth is market share is for the off-highway tire industry as a whole, not just agriculture. So agriculture, we are getting there in most of the geographies, but other industrial mining segments, which are, construction segments, which are larger in terms of value and volume both, weight-wise. So in those we need to get there, and we will. That's why we aspire to, grow in those segments in these geographies and hit our number of vision of 10% market share.
Thank you. Sanjay, we would request you to please come back in the question queue for any follow-up questions, as we have several participants waiting for their turn. The next question is from the line of Shashank Kanodia from ICICI Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good morning, sir, and congratulations for a resilient performance.
Thank you.
Just wanted to check, sir. Time and again, there are some news items mentioning about restriction being placed on imported rubber. So one of the key USPs of our business model is we are being able to import duty-free because of high share of exports. So if it were to happen, how would it impact our business model? And is it practically possible for India to place restriction on rubber imports?
Yeah. So basically, there are no restriction as of now. As of now, we are getting, rubber, on the duty-free basis. And I think this may happen, and if it happens with a, very little amount of duty. So that is also, exempted under advanced license scheme, which we are enjoying. So I can say that it should not have any negative impact on our business.
Okay. Secondly, sir, large part of capex will be behind us in this financial year, right? So we'll generate substantial amount of FCF next year. So we intend to maintain the same dividend payouts. Can we see an increase in dividend payouts going forward for next year?
I think that we'll let the board will take a call. So I think we'll wait and watch what happens on that. Difficult to give an answer today on that.
Thanks. That's all from my side, sir. Wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Mayur Mila from BOB Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, morning. So just wanted to understand, we've been hearing that there could be some impact of, demand on the Chinese with the COVID thing going on. So just wanted to understand, would we have any kind of flavor where we could believe that our share has gone up because of the Chinese slowdown in Europe, or you believe that the overall market has been expanding and we've expanded in line with the market demand?
So we have definitely taken some market share gain as well in the last quarter also. But so there is both the factors. There is definitely some strong demand, and as well as we've taken market share. So we have grown at a rate higher than the market has grown. But it would be difficult to attribute it to any particular point that, why we've gone ahead. There are multiple factors which have impacted our growth and the market share gain.
Right. And could you give a ballpark, maybe just some kind of difference, as in what could be the gain in terms of, so what I'm trying to understand here is that, are we looking at an incremental gain because this is here to stay from the demand perspective, or we are riding the benefit of the Chinese slowdown?
So as I mentioned, it's both. So definitely we are riding on strong demand, as well as we are gaining market share from our competitors because our quality is better accepted. People are using it more and more, and their brand, the branding that we've been doing, the brand awareness has been growing, so the brand recollect is there. So all these things are attributing to us gaining market share over our competitors also.
Right. And you believe that this gain of market share could definitely be sustainable with the kind of branding exercise and quality acceptance that we've achieved?
Yes. So that's good.
Great. Thank you, sir. That is all.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Abhishek Jain from Dolat Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Congrats for decent set of numbers. Sir, what is the current channel inventory in a volume and days terms? If there was any goods in transit volume for the last quarter, which was not booked in first quarter, and that will be booked in the second quarter, as the production is looking higher than the dispatches, and probably you would have a past inventory as well.
Sorry, I could not hear your question. Could you repeat that again? Because your line.
My first question is that what is the current channel inventory in volume and days terms? And second question is that is there was any goods in transit volume for the last quarter which was not booked in first quarter, as production is looking higher than the dispatches, and probably would be past inventory as well.
So there is no change in the channel inventory, and yes, there is some overlap between, as Mr. Bansal clarified, that some items are produced but not necessarily shipped in that quarter due to the order completion not being there. So you will see some benefit of that coming up in this quarter, but we'll have to wait and watch for the numbers to come up.
So what is the current channel inventory in the US and Europe? What is the normal?
That will be around, that is around 3 months.
So it's a thing. And what is the normal?
Generally they maintain inventory according to their procurement cycle. So it ranges between 2 to 3 months.
Okay. My second question is that related with the carbon black plant, what is the current utilization level of carbon-based black plant, and how much is the captive use?
Sorry, what was your first question on the carbon black? Your line is very muffled.
So what was the utilization level of carbon black plant in first quarter, and how much was captive use?
So carbon plant we are using optimizing, it's running on optimal levels. That's being done, and that's been running on optimal levels, and roughly about 15% is what we are selling in the marketplace.
Okay. And what is your medium-term target for the volume in the domestic fund, sir? Can you give?
On the tire, I'm assuming this question is for tire.
Yeah.
On the tire, as we said, that we see India as a growth potential. So we are to grow this substantially to more numbers higher than last year. And roughly currently we are about 22% of our sales is coming from India, and we are looking to grow this further.
Thank you. Abhishek, we would request you to please come back in the question queue for any follow-up questions, as we have several participants waiting for their turn. Also, we would request the participants to please limit your questions to 2 per participant. The next question is from the line of Rajesh Kothari from AlfAccurate Advisors. Please go ahead.
Good morning, sir. Congratulations for a great set of numbers. Just wanted to know, when I look at the global players' conference calls and presentations, they talk about channel inventory issues, and they are expecting further reduction in inventory by the channel partners, and also the reduced demand outlook both in North America as well as Western Europe.
In that environment, is it possible for you to give some more insights into why we are looking for a better demand growth outlook from the market perspective?
Rajeev, can you answer this?
Yeah, sorry. So, hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, sorry, I lost over here. So basically, there is a lot of factors which will come in. So, there is the overall...
Sorry to interrupt. Your audio is echoing.
Hello?
Sir, are you on the speakerphone right now? Mr. Poddar?
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you, I think.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
The audio is echoing. One moment.
Bansalji, can you answer? I'll just reconnect the...
Yeah, sure.
Sir, you can go ahead now.
Yeah. So basically, if you go to see where the demand, we are seeing that currently the numbers, the demand on the agri side is quite strong, and we don't know about our competitors, but for us, we are seeing a good traction in the agricultural side, and on that we are on those bases, and as he said, we are gaining market share, so we are pushing for trying hard to achieve the same levels as last year, and that's where we maintain at this stage.
Got it. So is it, since you are gaining market share, is it possible for you to give what is the growth of the industry in which you are operating compared to that your growth?
So industry is basically growing at a CAGR of around 4 to 5%.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, sir. Fine. No problem. I'll take it offline. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Bharat Shah from ESP Investment Managers. Please go ahead.
Hello. Sorry, am I audible now?
Yes, you are audible.
What's the voice there?
You mentioned that current year sales will match the last year, and in the first quarter we have done about 38,000 tons. Therefore, it will imply we have to do an average of roughly 55,000 per quarter for the remaining 3 quarters. Is that maths holding up?
Yes. As of now, we are quite confident to hit that number. Come close or hit that number.
And second question, one of the earlier participants asked, but there was so much of background chaos, I couldn't hear the answer properly. What is the breakup of the turnover geographically and end user industry-wise that you narrated?
Yeah, so geography-wise, Europe is around 55%. America is around 10-12%. India is around 24-25%, and balance is rest of the world.
Okay, and end user wise?
And as far as end user wise, so replacement is around 70%, and OEM is around 27%.
Yes, I heard that. Then on the user industry breakup one?
Yeah. So agriculture is around 65% and OTR is around 35%.
Sorry, agri 65 and
OTR is 35%.
Yeah.
OTR is 35.
Industrial construction and mining, yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sunil Shah from Turtle Star Portfolio. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so I have one question. Since last 2 years, we have been hearing that monsoons in Europe actually are not in favor, and that end of the year results in our volume not picking up to our expectation. Sir, so what is the situation this year? Because we are almost in mid of August. If you could give us some sense on that side, so that we are not in for some kind of negative surprises later on.
So far we hear that the monsoons, etc., in Europe are going, is okay. So we don't think that should be any bad spell there or negative news there. So we are keeping a close watch on that.
Oh, okay. Sir, my one more question was on the margins bit. FY22 we had a 28% margin. And in this first quarter also our margins are very healthy despite low volume. So is a fair assumption that given our carbon black and various other things activities that we have taken up in the company, 28% should be a base margin for us from this level going forward? EBITDA margin is what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So EBITDA, we have been always saying that, the margin range for the near term, that is for the next current year and next year, there's a good visibility of around 28 to 30%.
Okay. So despite flattish volumes, given the margins, we'll have better numbers at the bottom line for sure. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Fine. Thank you very much, sir. Thanks for this guidance.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Siraj Kacharia from Securities Investment Management. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for the opportunity. Just have two questions. First, you talked about us seeing a degrowth of 20-25% in Q1 in India business. So if you can just talk about something, how is it trending in July, August so far? And, for us, when we say we are in market share, is it largely a function of us able to deal with the supply chain or the production better than the competition, or is there some other element? Here are two questions.
So basically on the India part, yes, the number is lower than last year. That is because, as Mr. Bansal said in his opening remark, that practically India was under lockdown for a significant portion of the quarter. 3 weeks was a national lockdown. Then we had other phases of lockdown before unlock started. So that impacted on the result. July, August, we cannot discuss about the quarter numbers for the current quarter because it's ongoing. However, things are looking positive, and we are quite confident of India reaching growth numbers. So that's what I can comment on for this quarter. As far as your second question goes about the whether we were able to supply and manage our supply chain better. So yes, we were able to take care of that and ramp up quickly. Once government approvals came in, and so we were definitely able to do that. But it was a mix of a lot of things which attributed to this. So of course, supply chain contributed to that. But better brand recollect, better brand recognition due to the advertisement and spend that we're doing, and also the quality acceptance which was there is being reinforced. So all these things put together has impacted the better numbers for us.
In India business, who's been gaining share from? And again on the India business, you talk about distribution expansion, SKU. So are we done with that in terms of whatever gaps we had in the portfolio or in terms of distribution, or that is still a lever for us in coming years?
So in India, the demand itself is being strong, and it's generally we've been growing because we had a small base. So that's why we're growing our base and fulfilling the pan-India network which was missing. So now, as I mentioned earlier, that now our network is spread across India, which about a year back was spread to about 80% of India. So these things are helping us fill the gap, and of course the demand itself in India is strong and is growing. So both these factors are contributing to India's growth.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Dhaval Shah of Girik Capital. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Hi.
So my question is on the carbon black project. So can you just briefly explain what sort of payback period are we looking at in this project on the investments what we have made? And this is the question.
Yeah. So basically, you should not look at this project from the payback point of view. The main objective to set up this project was to ensure uninterrupted supply of good quality carbon black, because in the past we had faced a lot of problem in sourcing of it. So that's the main objective, and the benefit of it from the third party sales will automatically accrue to us according to the market conditions.
Also, just to add on to that, it also gives us a lot more control over the quality of the raw material that we are using. So it was a strategic call as opposed to a financial call. That's what we are trying to imply.
Got it, sir. And sir, your input-output ratio in carbon black in the tire manufacturing process will be roughly 30%?
Around 27%.
Around 27%. Okay. And sir, currently our achievable capacity is 3 lakh. Am I correct?
Correct.
Entire business, yes.
Entire. And we are expanding by another 5,000 ton at Bhuj.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Lokesh Manik from Vallum Capital. Please go ahead.
Yes. Good morning, Mr. Bansal and Rajiv.
Hi.
My question was, one is on the outlook on the global mining industry. So pre-COVID situation, we saw a revival. We were seeing signs of revival after a long period of time. So what is your reading currently? I mean, what feedback you're getting from the customer? Are they seeing the situation as temporary, or they're assuming the damage to continue into FY21 as well, based on the inventory stocking levels from them? Similar situation you experienced in agri in Europe last year. So just your reading of this situation in the mining industry.
So basically what sense we are getting is that there is yet a lot of uncertainty in the market. And marketplace, people are not willing to commit on the long term, because a lot of things are, yet open as to when the vaccination, if ever comes out, when the medication comes out, once that comes up, will things go back to normal, not go back to normal? So it's difficult to predict or give a definitive answer from the end user as well. But yes, people are, what people are saying is that, when the whole world had sort of locked out, those things are starting to unlock, and the demand which has come to practically a standstill is coming back. Now, we see the numbers to be overall be flat for this year, and that's what we are maintaining, that we will be close to last year's numbers. We will be at those levels. And those are the basis that, people are expecting the market to come back to those levels and be there. So, that's the basis that we are talking about.
Understood. So my second question is, so our realization is pretty volatile. We are at 247 kg today. Same quarter last year would be 220, if I'm not mistaken. So when we are looking at profitability, and how do we set our realization then? I mean, do we look at profitability on a margin basis or a per ton basis? Either gross profit or EBITDA.
Yeah. So first, let me correct. The last year realization for the same quarter was 237, not 222.
Okay.
Which now stands at 247.
Okay.
I think going forward, at least for the current financial year, we can look at the similar kind of realization, based on the currency conversion, etc. And assuming that there is no pricing action,
So, but do we look at it from a margin basis or a per ton basis, EBITDA or gross profit? When we are setting prices?
Actually, it is not a seller's market, so we cannot dictate all those things, or we cannot benchmark those things.
Understood.
What we do is, we always try to achieve the best out of everything.
Understood.
We lock currency, we try to cover up our raw material costs, and we try to control our other costs, so that the end result is, better.
Understood. So you have to sell at whatever price you're getting, and then backward you can okay, understood.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it from my side, sir. Any more, I'll come back. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sabyasachi Mukherjee from Centrum PMS. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for the opportunity. I just had one question. So we are actually hearing from lot of OEs as well as ancillaries in the automobile segment that they are facing supply side constraints. Even if we hear the tractor OEMs, they are actually saying that demand is robust, farm demand is robust, but they are facing supply side constraints. So on that thing, are we facing any similar constraints, or is it absolutely fine for us?
So we have a good amount of supply side for the raw material engine. So we don't have a constraint in that. As far as the demand goes, we are trying to manage our supply to them and trying to improve, build that up constantly and send it out to them.
So overall, there are no logistic issues, from the dispatch point of view and from the sourcing point of view, and we are somehow, able to get their services in time. So I can say that, our operations are by and large smooth.
Great to hear. And the similar thing is observed in European or maybe the US geography where you are not facing any kind of logistical issue. Is that a fair assessment?
Yes, you can. Yes, that is why we are able to make this kind of dispatches.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Question is from the line of Ajit Motwani from Pinpoint Asset Management. Please go ahead.
Hey, good morning, Sanjeev. So my question is, if I look at our realizations, they have improved and our costs have also improved, but our margins have not improved because the volumes are not really higher. So is the competitive scenario decent enough or benign enough for us to capture this increase in gross margin to our EBITDA margin in the near future?
See, gross margin is already at a very healthy level.
Yes.
If I see the current quarter, it is around 60%.
Yeah.
And most of the things have already been priced into it. So I don't see any significant scope of improvement over there.
Yeah.
But as the volume increases, the other cost element will come down, and which will improve the margin.
On this other cost, if I look at your volumes are about 38,000 today, and correspondingly our other expenses are about 250, 260 odd crores, similar to 2Q level, 2Q FY20 levels, where we had done 45,000 and our other expenses were also similar, 260 odd crores. So is there some spend that we've not been able to curtail and hence there is some scope there to save off? Would you elaborate?
Yeah, I understood your question. So basically, most of our cost is variable in nature. Even within other expenditure, there are a lot of variable expenditure which are clubbed, like freight cost, sales and distribution cost, stores, etc. And around 10% is our fixed cost element at EBITDA level. So that is more or less constant, and that is amortized over a larger base once the overall volume increases.
So in that case, there is no pricing pressure in for us as of now. So we could be able to capture this gross margin expansion going ahead.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Naveen Mata from Mahindra Manulife Investment Management. Please go ahead. Naveen, your line is in talk mode. You can go ahead, please.
Hello? Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, hi, sir. Sir, just wanted to check, what was the currency realization for the quarter?
It's around 84 rupees.
Okay. And given that spot is higher, do we expect this to move up further, or how are hedges placed currently?
Yeah. So as you know, we are hedging continuously. So the current level would be captured in the next financial year.
Okay. So for FY21, we should be around this 84 levels?
84 to 85, yeah.
Okay. And sir, secondly, just wanted to know if in our gross margins, are they reflecting the entire benefit of, the softening in commodity prices?
Yes, more or less.
Okay. And missed your comment on the fixed costs, which you were explaining to the previous participant. So basically, just looking at your other expenses, the drop year on year is not very significant. So just wanted to know in terms of direction, is there scope there for an improvement?
See, the absolute number, the overall number will remain same because the variable cost will increase in proportion and other costs would remain same. And we are that way very, cost efficient company. So there is no much scope of, any kind of significant cost improvement. Having said that, we always make endeavor to, keep our cost under control and try to improve it further to the extent possible.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Varun Arora from Chase Enterprises. Please go ahead.
Hi. Congrats on good numbers. My question is related to the EBITDA margin guidance. Did you say 28 to 30%? That's looking ahead, and that's the medium-term guidance?
Yeah, at least for the, current financial year.
Sure. And so just on this guidance, are we being on the conservative side? The reason I'm asking this question is because if I see like in FY17 and FY18 period, we were doing margins of around 29 to 31%. And since then, we've moved to a more efficient plant. We've got the carbon black, so that should carbon black in itself should give 1%, extra margin. Then there is efficiency of, better plant. With also like operating leverage should also kick in. So just trying to assess if we are being, on the conservative side as far as margins are concerned. I guess raw materials are also at the similar levels.
Yeah. So I understood. Basically, what we are saying is the directional view about the margin. Having said that, it does not mean that it will be remaining under this range only. If there is a scope, it can improve also. So.
Right. And any levers, sir, which we mentioned some of the levers which should kind of, push the margins higher, but any levers which is kind of pushing it down? Has anything changed? What is different compared to, back then, which should put pressure in margin? Is there any lever?
No, I don't think there are any such levers which can put to any kind of pressure, at least in the, short term.
Right.
Raw material prices are also range bound. ASP is better. So that way visibility is good. But, the overall environment is so dynamic that it is difficult to take, long-term call.
Sure. But so under the current environment, would you say, ignoring the first quarter because it was impacted, but we are on track to do 30% plus EBITDA margin, at least 30% plus?
It's difficult to say exact number, but definitely, I can say that the margin in the subsequent quarter will be better than first quarter.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. That's all from my side.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Bhaskar Bukrediwala from ASK Investments. Please go ahead.
Sir, good morning. Thanks for taking my question.
So I just wanted to understand, you have been talking about taking a lot of initiatives in the mining sector, particularly in US and other markets. So how has been the traction for you in terms of, if you could give us a sense even qualitatively, have you been able to make inroads, have been able to get some bit of additional market share from where you were? That would be helpful, sir.
Yeah. So on the mining side, yes, our efforts have been getting us to good inroads, and we've been able to gain more entry points in the mining sector and all. And our products are now running and they're giving good results. So there's a good traction coming back. Repeat orders are coming back. So we are definitely increasing our market share. And for us, the market in this segment also is looking up now, and will continue to grow. So our bets, what we were planning to do in this segment is working now. So you should see results already.
So, sir, just to small follow-up, what would be your current market share in the mining sector? And if you could give us a sense, what do you think that you would be able to achieve, let's say, in the next 3 to 4 years from where you are?
So currently we are at about roughly 2 to 3% in this, and we envisage to go to about 5 to 6% in the next 2 to 3 years. In the mining sector, I'm talking about particularly.
All right. That's a fairly good jump.
Yeah.
Right. Sure. Thank you, sir. That is all from my side.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Jitendra Khatri from Quantum Advisors Private Limited. Please go ahead. Jitendra, your line is in talk mode. You can go ahead, please. We would request the current participant to please unmute yourself if muted from the handset. As there is no response from the current participant, I have muted the line. The next question is from the line of Bharat Gianani from Sharekhan. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for the opportunity, and congrats on a good set of numbers in such a challenging scenario. Sir, my first question is the currency hedges. What was the euro rate that we realized in FY20, sir?
FY20, it was around 78, 79.
Okay. Fine. And sir, carbon black, coming on the carbon black plant, what's the current, we had initiated phase 2 as well. So can you give us an update on the production? What was the production of carbon black? What you have reached in terms of metric tons as of now, combining first and second phase?
So both the phases went, as we said, we finished the project in March and commissioned it. And both the phases put together combined to 140, and we are running both of them at optimal levels.
Okay, so current production would have reached what's the current production level, sir, on annualized basis?
It would, on annualized basis, could be around 110 to 115 because 140 is the installed capacity and achievable is 120. So we should be close to about 110 to 118 because we have to ramp it up slowly. So we lost the first month in that.
Okay. And so you said in the earlier thing that out of this 15% is sold outside, right?
Yes, 15 to 18%. Yes.
Okay. Fair enough, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. That was the last question. I would request the management to please add any closing comments.
I would thank you everyone for taking out their time and joining our call, and urge everyone to take care of themselves and be safe.